So thank you so much, entire team at Manav Rachna and SRM, Dr. Mahalakshmi ma'am. Dr. Arundeep and Dr. Mahalakshmi ma'am had invited me for the first part of this symposium, and I'm so glad that now, you are doing the second part of the same workshop as well. And it was a wonderful workshop last time and even better this time. So thank you for having me as a part of both the symposiums. My the topic that has been given today to me is finding the funders. I think over the past 3 years, we have discussed 3 days, we have been discussing different technical aspects of research and how to do research. And now we are coming to business, and let's talk money is the kind of topic that I have to speak on today. It's finding the funders. And if you leave it to me, I would slightly modify my topic and make it finding the funds instead of the funders. And as I go ahead in my presentation, probably why I made that change will be clear to all the participants. Now, my talk, I'll divide into 3 parts. For all the postgraduate students, this is mainly focused on the postgraduates, and a few tips for the academicians as well. What are the main financial expenses that are involved in any kind of research? And of course, the main research that is our focus right now is the postgraduate thesis research that all of you have to undertake. So what are the different components of the financial expenses? For any financial planning, first you have to know your budget. So how you can manage your budget by doing small things at your own level, and then how you can take external help in the form of grants and what are the infrastructure available and the different aids. This is the outline of my presentation today. Now, coming to the main financial expenses that as postgraduates and as researchers you have to expect. Now, as we know, dentistry is a very technical field and we are very dependent on our tools and materials. So the major expense that comes in any research that we take is the material used. Because we do test a lot of materials, we'd have different kinds of groups. And now, as Dr. Srinivasan gave such a beautiful lecture on sample size calculation, so we have to keep the right sample size, which again keeps increasing the cost. The other main part of the cost that you have to expect is when you do the analysis of the different types of testing, whether it is scanning, electron microscopy or physical testing. Every test and every sample testing will incur a cost. So the second main component of your financial expense would be your testing. And third, which may or may not be a part of your thesis, would be travel cost, if any, if you're doing it outside your city, or you're doing any collaborative research, or your technical partner is outside Delhi, outside your city, that will include an additional cost at your end. As I said, these are the different kinds of materials, whether you're doing endodontics or any other field. So dentistry will involve one of these materials, which will be your first finance heavy domain, and the different laboratory testings and methodologies that you will need to use. For that, you have to incur a cost per sample size or per testing, and then the travel cost. Now, I would like to give you the ABCD of finding the funds, as I said. So how do you make sure that you make the availability of your available resources and you keep the funds, keep your requirements as low as possible? The first mantra of that will be to make use of what is available to us. That is A for available resources. Now this, if you look around, all of us have this accessible to us. It's just that we may or may not be using it. So all charity begins at home. First thing that you have to look will be whatever resources are available at your parent institute or your affiliated institutes. A lot of us are working in universities. Even Manav Rachna, SRM, they are all universities. So you have to look at the partner institutes. What resources are available within your department will be first within your college and then within your campus. After that, once you have seen your departmental resources, you can see how you can partner with other departments, how you can use knowledge exchange as a strong point, and not spend on everything, but you can actually keep a collaborative partner for one particular domain who can take care of that. and following proper MOUs and tie-ups, you can go ahead with this. For example, these are the amenities or the research facilities that we have in our institute. And this is used not only by that specific department, but it can be used by any other department for conducting their own research. So have a look, all the postgraduates, go for a round of your institute, your department, and then go for a round of the campus, and then know what is available for you to use. The other very important available resource that we don't see is the kind of research that the department has already done. I think I discussed all of this in my last year's session also, and it really, the points remain the same, and I want to reinforce the same. When our postgraduates join the department, in the first month, they have only one exercise. They have to go through all the departmental publications. They go through all the studies that have already been conducted. And another tip which has proven to be very successful for us is when our students complete their thesis, we ask them to give us points of how that thesis can be continued. So what are the further steps of that particular thesis? So what I'm trying to imply upon is that it is, only in our part of the geographical location that in every research we want to do something new. What actually will give us more benefit is when if we take a topic and we do continuity of research. For example, if you want to study restoration of endodontically treated teeth, you can start with an in silico or an FEA analysis, which one student can do. That can be converted into a chewing simulation in vitro study. And then third year, depending on the results of that, you can take up a clinical study. So that also reduces your fund because altogether you're not doing everything, and you also have a knowledge exchange. So you know what is working and what is not working. So you decide your groups accordingly. So first way of using your available resource of research is by doing continuous research. And the other way is to divide the groups. So the same methodology can be used by different people, but you don't have to have many groups in the same kind of research, and you can split it up. This is a very valuable available resource, and all postgraduates, I really urge you to go through all the departmental research or the so many years of work that is there existing in your own department. So before you pick up your own topic, go through what is available. The B of the ABCD is be local. Now, your times today, all the postgraduates, you are very fortunate because over the past 7 years, we launched Atmanirbhar Bharat in 2015. And after that, government has given a lot of focus in setting up infrastructure for research all over the country. So now gone are the days, when we had to go to a good library in the South College for getting an access to our articles. And gone are the days when there were only 2 or 3 institutes which have particular facilities. I will explain later in my presentation how the infrastructure is actually planned all over India. And you will get infrastructural support and technical support and mentoring support from within your area. Why I'm saying be local is because when you are doing an outstation collaboration, of course, first thing it does, it adds to cost of travel. You cannot do research collaboration without sitting together and, thinking over it and mulling over it and coordination with each other. And that is very difficult. We have done a lot of outstation collaboration. Beyond a point, it does not work. Because or you need that kind of fund and you need that type of time to be able to do it. So try to stay local, see what kind of support you need, then see what is there within your area, which you can access locally on your own. And then again, it is easier to follow up this kind of research if you do it in the locally. And the most important is the C or the collaboration. Now, this collaboration we'll discuss in the coming slides. Collaboration will be at multiple levels. As I said, the first thing you have to do collaboration within your department, with your seniors, with your faculty, see what they have been doing. And then it goes up to how you collaborate with other technical institutes, how you collaborate with other departments in your institutes, other specialities within other institutes within your campus, and then how you go to other national resources that are available in your area, and if needed, in other parts of the area. So first step of that is how we can do collaborative research with other specialities. As I said, we all have lab setups in our institutes. Every specialty has their own research infrastructure set up in their departments. So try and do a lot of collaborative research. Not only does it help you in reducing your fund requirements, but definitely it adds to your expertise. You get an expertise, like we do a lot of research with oral pathology, oral radiology. I mean, these are some fields like molecular and immunohistology studies. If you see our endodontic literature, a lot of these studies are based on these methodologies. So we are not experts in that. So best is to have a person who's an expert on board. They will also come with their resources, and at the same time, they will also come with their expertise. Similarly, endodontics is a radiological based study. I mean, science, we use a lot of radiology inputs. So you can do some study with radiology. Prosthodontics and us, we have a lot of common restorative work and the material testing. In that, we can actually club with prosthodontics. And of course, a basic sciences department like microbiology, biochemistry, pathology are the mainstay of most of our research. So extend out of your department, try to form small alliances and collaborations within your institute. The next level of collaboration would be the neighboring technical institutes. So have a look around. You have engineering colleges, you have pharmacy colleges, and all of you who are sitting within a university setup, you're very fortunate in having that. So have a look, go and visit those institutes, see what kind of facilities they are, or go and access the website and see and try to form alliances. Again, this will reduce your cost and it gets expertise. But one thing is, whenever you're doing collaboration, keep a very clear memorandum of understanding at the beginning of your project. So first thing that a memorandum of understanding does is it gives you clarity of thought as well as your partner, because you will clearly define the goals and objectives. So there will not be any ambiguity during the process of research and even after the research. Of course, within the course of doing that, you can always reset it, and that also needs to be documented. And you can change the course of your methodology depending on your pilot study, but have a very clear roadmap ready before you start your journey. So because once you do that, then the obligations, the duties, and the gains of both the parties are very clear from the very beginning. The next type of collaboration that we can do is from the industry. Dental industry itself today is the size of $2 billion, and out of that, most of it is actually dental product and material industry. Now, these manufacturers and dental suppliers, now we are just at the beginning of starting that, that journey of India in making our own products and materials. But most of these foreign or Indian manufacturers, they have their setups. They have their own research facilities. So there are 2-3 things in which you can collaborate with them. One would be if you can write to them from your institute side with the consent of your guide and the director of the institute. You can always write that you're doing research at an institute and they can sponsor some products. Or you can even access their testing facilities and take your samples and test that. So these are 2 kinds of collaborations that you can do with the industry, which helps you. But most important is that whenever you do this kind of a collaboration, ethics always takes the front seat. So in no way should your results be biased if you're using a particular company's product or a particular company has sponsored one of your sample groups. So it should not bias your research design or your research conclusions. And the best way of doing that is that whoever is interpreting your results should be blinded. Ideally, even the operator should be blinded. And any kind of financial grant or support, whether you're taking it from the industry or you're taking it from the college resource or the government resource, that has to be very clearly stated or very clearly declared. Whenever you publish your paper or whenever you write a research, any publication, you will be asked to declare it. And this is the first thing that you need to do. And one golden rule of any kind of financial planning is that if you plan, and this happens to all of us in all domains of life, you always spend more than your estimate. So plan it in such a way that you are going to spend more than your estimate. Now, coming to the D of ABCD of finding the funds is how you are going to design your study. As I said earlier, you can actually reduce your cost by designing your study in different ways, like an in silico or the finite element analysis or anything that is based on a computer-based software. That kind of a study design usually are slightly lighter on the pocket. So before you start your research, along with other things like need of the study, feasibility, viability, you also need to see what is the availability of funds with you. According to that, you can decide your study design. So if you are low on the funds, then you can go for an in silico study, or as I said earlier, you can do a clinical research of a study which already has a very clear in vitro result. So that kind of a study usually will not involve a testing apparatus or a testing method. So that can reduce your cost a bit. Or best would be to go for a combination of any of this, which is, and some data of that should already be existing with you so that what you're doing will have a clear meaning. So to summarize, we discussed to begin with till now, I discussed how in simple steps A, B, C, D of designing your research itself, you can find the funds. And this is why I said you don't always need a funder. You can just find the funds from within your resources and you can plan better. Now, coming to what exactly is available to you for financial help, of course, first is the readily available resources, which we just discussed. Second is leverage the research infrastructure. I'll explain to you in the coming slides how the research infrastructure at a national level is available, not only for one or two people, but for everybody. You just need to look where and how. Then what are the different types of funds and grants that are available at different levels? A lot of them are for academicians and clinicians, but a big section of those are also available for postgraduates as well as undergraduate students, and what kind of manufacturers funding we can look for. So beyond the ABCD of finding the funds, we look at some of the funds and the grants that you should leverage. As I said, charity should begin from home. So the first kind of grant that you should look at is intramural research grant. So most of the institutes do have a provision of a small, it can be a 5,000 or a 10,000 rupees. They do have some intramural grants, and those who don't can actually consider starting it because it's a very good exercise. It promotes the postgraduates. Usually it's an internal assessment. So all the protocols are submitted, and amongst them the top 5 or the top 10 are given a small startup grant or a fund to the students. So this is a very big encouragement to get any amount at that level. So most of the institutes should do this. Or the other way of getting an intramural grant is if your guide already has an existing extramural grant. So if I'm already working on a project as an academician and I have a grant from one of the funding bodies, I can give a part of that to the postgraduate, and the consumables, the non-consumable, and the testing facility can be funded through that existing grant. So these are, two ways of how you can take an intramural grant. Next to that is, if you look around, there are all our national bodies, two of the main national bodies that we have in our specialty, Indian Endodontic Society and IACD. Both of them have annual research grants. In fact, Dr. Dax is here online. He received the Indian Endodontic Society annual research grant last year, and he has already published it in one of the top index journals. So it's not that we always feel that, oh, if I apply, I may or may not get it, but it's always worth an attempt. So please apply in all grants that are opening up. Similarly, IACD also gives 4 grants, 2 to postgraduates and 2 to faculty per year. So look out for the deadlines of these grants and apply to them when they open up. So IES last year opened up in September, and I'm sure it will be opening up again this year. Beyond the national bodies, there are international association grants like the International Federation of Endodontic Association, IFIA, opened the Jean-Marie Leriche Research Award, in which they were giving up to $6,000 for a research application that was chosen amongst the 42 partner countries. Then other than this, International Association of Dental Research, which is represented by ISDR, or the Indian Society of Dental Research, we have a very strong representation in this body through our Indian counterpart. And they have multiple grants which are open specially for postgraduate students. Of course, two things you need to see, three things in fact you need to keep in mind. What is the deadline, or when is it that they open those grants? Then you need to see, they will always give you some focus areas or domains, and your research has to be aligned to one of those focus areas, because every year they give their focus areas of research granting. So you need to ensure that your research is in that domain for them to fund it. And then you see the, the full grant amount, and in what way are they giving it? Is it, broken into multiple parts, or they give it in one time? Now, one of the most useful grants that I feel from extramural resources is the ICMR thesis grant. As I think I mentioned last year as well, we have been applying for this every year, and at least one student gets this. This is specifically targeted towards postgraduate thesis, and they give a total amount of 50,000 rupees that they split in two parts. They give you 30,000 rupees upfront for conducting your research, and then they give you 20,000 rupees once you have conducted and you have published your research. I want to take you step by step on how you can apply for this grant. You have to just go to the website of ICMR, and in that, like this is December 2021, similarly you will have for this year as well. They will have a link where you can click to apply for your thesis grant. Once you apply on that link, you will have a detailed form that you have to submit along with it, along with the details of the thesis that you are proposing to do, and submit it. And usually it opens twice a day, twice in a year. Once is in June and the other cycle is in December. So whenever your protocol is submitted and it is, it's gone to the university, you can look at the upcoming cycle and apply for it. There are similar grants from other, sources also. Like ICMR has a fellowship program, which is specifically again targeted for PG candidates, and they gave a stipend of up to 31,000 per month. And when I was looking up, for these grants, I chose to put only those grants on the slides for which I know one person who has actually gotten it. So none of these are only theoretical, or, none of them are those which we feel we never get, because I know one person personally who has gotten one of these grants. So ICMR fellowship, we have one senior research fellow who actually took this grant in his post-graduation at AB Shetty under Mitra ma'am. This is another UGC, or the UGC, which is focused again on students. They have a scheme for award of postgraduate scholarships. This again, you can look up on the website. All the details are on their website. Now, other than this, the other domain, whenever we are looking at our thesis grant, we only look for basic research methodologies. But the workup research for doing any kind of product development or technology development also can be taken up as small thesis or research projects for postgraduate students. And in our ecosystem for funding and grants, we have a completely different set for funding for any kind of an innovation or product development. So under one of these schemes is a BIRAC. BIRAC is a unit of Department of Biotechnology. And the mandate of creating this entire division is only to support product development. So they support students, they support academicians, as well as they support directly the industry as well. So they keep coming out with different schemes and projects. And one such scheme is a SITAR, which is basically Students' Innovation for Translation and Advancement of Research Explorations. And they fund 15 such research projects every year. So you have to just be active. Our new generation of students are all very tech savvy. So be active, look up these sites, scroll through these sites, and make a annual calendar for yourself of when and how you want to apply. Of course, as I said earlier, you have to also see the domain in which they are going to give that particular grant. So whatever application you're going to put in should belong to one of that domains. One very interesting scheme is the e-Yuva Center. In fact, I have to tell you, I'm very proud to share that we recently had a global biocare national level research, national level conference at Pragati Midan in New Delhi. And there I met an e-Yuva fellow who is Mahalakshmi Ma'am's student, and he has just finished his BDS and he was there as an e-Yuva fellow. So e-Yuva Center is a specific scheme that is targeted at developing research ecosystems targeted towards students. That can be our undergraduate students and our postgraduate students. And basically what they do is they set up these e-Yuva centers in universities and colleges and institutes like ours and yours. And they give three-pronged support. One will be, of course, in the form of stipend or fellowship. Other will be the infrastructural facility that they'll give. So if Maulana Azad is recognized as an e-Yuva center, then they set up a pre-incubation space. BIRAC will set up a pre-incubation space within Maulana Azad. And any student who is chosen as an e-Yuva fellow in our area will have open access to that pre-incubation space, which will have some research infrastructure, some testing facilities available, which that student can access. And all faculty and expertise who are there in that institute will also act like additional mentors. So it's a three-pronged approach. You get funds, you get infrastructure, and you also get mentoring. And as I said, I know somebody who has gotten one of these grants, and I was very happy to meet Mahalakshmi Ma'am's student in that conference who is an e-Yuva fellow. He worked on the basic research using the scheme, and now he's taking his product further. Now, to complete our entire circle of ecosystem in research, our fifth or sixth circle is actually of the research infrastructure. And this, of course, cannot be set up by me or you or even small universities. We definitely need support from the umbrella government. So just to tell you in brief, not all of this is actually useful for us at this level, but this is exactly how the research infrastructure in India nationally is planned. It is a four-stage or four-step setup that is being planned, and a lot of it is already there. Almost 80% is there on the ground, and of course, they are being developed and they are being further honed and fine-tuned. So the first setup is testing labs. Now, testing labs can be at institutes. It can be a chain of labs like CSIR labs or ICMR labs, or they can be specialized centers also, which will have a very dedicated testing lab. And this is exactly what, as a postgraduate student, right now at this stage, you will be needing. But just for your information, so that you know what exactly is there ahead of that, will be pre-incubation setups, like I said, e-Yuva centers or the BioNest centers. And the purpose of these pre-incubation setups will be a larger facility where you can just go as a person who wants to make a product or who has an idea. So you can just go there with your idea, you can tinker in the lab, you can work with the mentors, and you can make up an ideation of a proof of concept of anything that you want to work on. Once you have done that, you will be directed towards centers of excellence or research hubs, which will help you in taking it from ideation, basically to see whether what you want to do, to see whether it can be made or not. So feasibility of that product or that research will be checked there. And then the largest or the outer circle of this infrastructure is the BioNest centers and the medtech parks. What you are looking for at this stage is the basic testing labs that are available. So again, the first access point for these testing labs for you will be your academic institutions, yours, other academic institutions in your campus, other academic institutions in your city, that is dental, and then technical academic institutions within your city and neighboring areas. And most of them now have a very clear interface in the form of their website, where they will have a section of book your infrastructure or book your testing facility. And you can just go see the drop down and you can book your time and your slot. Most of them are paid, but they are very minimally paid as per the government guidelines. Similarly, other bodies like CSIR and ICMR, as you can see in the lower right side, This is the entire network of the CSIR labs. So not only are they available in Delhi, but they are available all over India in different zones. And now whenever government is giving these schemes, they ensure that some of it is available in different parts of India. So you can just reach out to your local lab. Other than that, there are also special schemes like the FIST program. We have ourselves taken two instruments through the FIST program. This is one of the programs under Department of Science and Technology, and the purpose of it is to develop infrastructure for research in the universities. As the grant says, fund for improvement of science and technology infrastructure. So you have to apply for these grants as an institute, and you can tell what particular technology you want to develop at your institute, and they give you fund for it. And that is then later made available to a larger community. These are some of the good labs and setups which have a lot of facilities like Sri Chitra and Down South, which is mainly funded by DST, but others as well. And ICMR, as I said, has a whole network of labs who are doing it. Now, sitting in one part of the country, how do you know of what is accessible where? And I think that is a question that all of us ask, not only postgraduate students, but even us. Whenever we plan a resource, the first question that comes in our mind is, where am I going to find that technology? So for that, this is one of the most useful platforms that we've come across. Government has actually put all of it on an website, on an online portal, which is called as iSTEM. That is Indian Science, Technology and Engineering Facilities Map. The first requirement of being a part of this or to be able to access this website is to register your institute. So you cannot register as an individual, but you need to register as an institute. You need to put in what all facilities you have. So if Manav Rachna is registering at iSTEM, you register as an institute, Manav Rachna Dental College. You put in, they will ask you what all facilities you have at your institute, which also you will offer to a larger setup. Once you do that, you actually have access to this entire ecosystem all over India. So if I need to look for a spectrophotometer, I just enter spectrometer here, my equipment name, I enter my preferred location or city, make and model. Also, you can specify if you have a very specific need, and then you search on it. And through this portal, you will be able to see which all centers in India have a spectrophotometer. So when we searched for this, we had 687 available spectrometers all over India across different institutions. Once you know what is available, where it is available, you can just use their website and you can book a slot for yourself. So it's a very simple interface, but you can only register as an institute. And once your institute is on this portal, you can access other. There are user charges along with every usage, but those user charges are at a very low rate as per the government norms. And there is a very clear flow chart of how you need to use the facility, and you can just courier your samples if it is outside your city, and they give it back. So to just summarize the kind of infrastructure that you will have, these are the red box that you can see. These are the larger research setups that have been done by BIRAC, and they're mainly for technology testing, and these are called the BioNest centers. In addition to that, ICMR has now identified most of the IITs, the technical institutes, Hyderabad, Madras, Guwahati, Delhi, Kanpur, and Mumbai as their ICMR DHR centers of excellence. And this is mainly for medtech development, that is medical technology development. So what they have done is they have given, instead of giving distributed funds all over India to small projects and small institutes, they have set up big, large facilities that can be used for testing medical technology or medical research, basic research at these centers. And they are setting up all the equipments here along with the mentors there. So one such center is also there in Delhi. I'll tell you, these are the 5 IITs: Guwahati, Hyderabad, Kharagpur, Kanpur, Bombay, Madras. And along with this, there is one M Pragati Center, which is set up within IIT Delhi. Now, for example, I wanted to show you this. This is one such ICMR DHR Center of Excellence, which is in Delhi. And these are the different technologies that they have already set up at this center. You can just go visit their site. It's a very easy interface. You can see like from Instron to micro tensile to micro hardness, all these machines they have set up. Not only do you get access to that infrastructure, you also get access to expertise, because there will be a mechanical engineer who will be running these equipments for you. So this again emphasizes on the need that we don't need to really set up everything within our dental institutes. We should just collaborate with the right partners, and this is exactly the approach that the larger ecosystem is also taking. Along with your local labs, you will find a local center of excellence for research and medtech in your area, and just approach them and write to them for the kind of research that you have to do. On similar grounds, the first dental technology innovation hub, that is the first hub infrastructure that is mainly dedicated for dental technology development, which Dr. Alpa mentioned, has been set up in Maulana Azad. We are still in infant stages because we started it in April, but these are some of the facilities that we have set up in the hub so far. And through this, there are again other technologies and setups that we are planning to do, which we are going to have within this coming year, hopefully. So once this is set up, it will be open on an online platform for you also to book it online and access it. Of course, the main mandate of this hub is to support Indian product development, as we said. And these are the 7 projects that we have incubated and funded in the first round, where all of these will be dedicated to dental product development. And whenever you do such an activity, you basically have a strong network. So each of these projects has one technical partner in terms of an engineering institute, one dental partner, of course, and one industry partner. So this is a kind of network that we have in the first round of dental technology innovation. So to summarize, as I said, there is ABCD of how we can find the funds within ourselves. Of course, then you need to know about the various funds and grants that are available outside your walls, and what is a larger infrastructure ecosystem that is there in the country that you can access step by step, depending on the kind of need that you have at that time. To summarize my presentation for today, I just want you to take home a point. So first will be, please stay active. You have to be an active listener. You have to be an active researcher. You have to be an active surfer on the net, which I'm sure most of the people are in your generation. You access the available resources first. Believe me, 80% of your needs are actually taken care of within your campus. So look for the right resources within the campus, within the college, across departments, and within department across different work in research that has been done before you joined. Apply for grants in time, stay aware, look for the timelines, look for the kind of grant, and look for the domain areas. This is the biggest mistake that most of us do. We do not apply in the right domain. Make the right kind of alliances, again with the technical partners, as well as our biochemistry, pathology, and microbiology, our basic sciences partners, and stay aware of what is happening. So all we need to do is plan. So financial prudence is what we need. So with proper planning and proactive, if you do that, then from feeling financially burdened, you will have a Gangam time. So thank you so much. I sincerely acknowledge and thank the organizing committee for again having me this year in succession. And be smart is the take-home message. Have very specific goals, measurable goals. Achievable or feasibility is what we discussed in the entire lecture today. You may have the best protocol, but if you cannot do it, feasibility is not there in terms of funding, it's not realistic. And also do it timely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll request Alpa ma'am to please join in.
Have I completed before time, Suchita?
Yes, ma'am. That's it.
Yes, yes, right here only.
So I think we can have 10 minutes of question answers. Maybe that's why I completed early.
So if you have questions, please write in the chat box and we'll be able to see them.
Yeah, I think this was actually the most important part of this research, which where people always ask, yeah, where do we get the funds from? And ma'am, as usual, we have to heard you n number of times. You heard it last time also, and I think you become the epitome of guiding people how to go for research, getting the grant.
As I said, what I'm looking forward to is from this year to next year, we should have more success stories, Then
Yes, correct.
the whole effort is actually worth it.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. Actually, it has paved the way. People have started to now recognize, they have started to understand and identify, like how you've given us those areas where to go, which all times it come. You've given us even the time period when these grants are released and they announce it. So we are also on the lookout. So I hope that the scholars, faculty, and even the postgraduates who have joined in, at least they can take in a cue from this presentation, and we'll be sharing the recorded lectures. Definitely they should at least note it down where and when they could apply for. Like the simplest one is an ICMR project, 50,000. I mean, that's definitely, if it's worth it, you should.
The most doable at the postgraduate level.
Correct, ma'am. That is absolutely correct. I think this is what people should focus on.
Yeah.
So if anyone really has any questions, please ask ma'am. She'll be more than willing to, guide you and even further enlighten you of how to go about it. Anyone can please put it in the chat box. It'll be really great. Yeah, we have a question coming up.
Yeah. Can you please list out any commercial companies providing funds?
Yeah, so practically all of them or none of them. It depends on whom you approach. So all companies have that provision. So when I said there are two ways that you're going to get funds. One is you can ask a company to sponsor their own products, if that is one of your sample groups, So that, but always please keep in mind when you're approaching an industry, it has to go through proper channel. It has to go through your head and your director. It cannot go at an individual level. And you will have to declare a conflict of interest later on. And it should not bias your research design. If you just keep these points in mind, most companies are usually happy to help and support, at least in the form of products, because they are also looking at more research coming out on their products. So that is something that you can very easily get done.
Kalyani, I hope your question is being answered. So ma'am, I've given her mail ID. So if you have any questions, you can directly write it to us, or you can write it to ma'am directly, and we'll be happy to help you all. So I stand here today proud and grateful to express my heartful thanks to all those who have made this event possible, namely management of both the colleges, Manavratna Dental College and SRM Dental College, Chennai, Dr. Sanjay Miglani sir, Dr. V. Gopi Krishna sir, Dr. K. Ravi sir, Dean SRM Dental College, Mahalakshmi ma'am, Professor and Head Department of Conservative Dentistry, SRM Dental College, our Principal Dr. Puneet Batra sir, DAC sir, my faculty members, my postgraduate students, and all the speakers, those who have joined us during these 4 days of knowledge and everything. So I would like to thank everyone for being there and supporting us with their participation and all. After 12 sessions, 12 lecture sessions, 510 registrations, 200 plus participants each day, I would like to conclude these 4 days of research methodology workshop 2.0, as Mahalakshmi ma'am says. So thank you all for being such a great listener. We'll be sharing your participation certificates and the recording for all the 4 days through the mail, which we have already got through your registrations. So don't worry about that. It may take a week or 2 weeks time, but yes, we'll definitely try and send it to you by earliest possible. So thank you all, and Thanks.
I really want to congratulate you and your team, Dax, you and Suchita, all of you and Dr. Mahalakshmi's team. It is a wonderful initiative that you have been doing. And I'm
Thank
sure, I hope the point O's continue,
Yes,
This is that.
we'll make sure it continues. Ma'am, we just have a couple of more questions. I think it
Yeah,
just
sure.
comes related to micro CT and its costing. And one more is there any government body or private body? Ma'am, yes, ma'am, you can answer the first one. The availability of micro CT in India and its costing for about 40 samples.
Yeah, so so there are multiple, labs which have micro CT. You'll mostly find them in the IITs. I can tell you that in Delhi itself, we have two. One is at IIT Delhi, and I think DTU also has one now. But again, if your institute is on the iSTEM network, I think that is the best place to access it. And costing will again vary from institute to institute, so you have to look that up. As far as funding is concerned for patent, I think that's the other question that I can read here. If you have any funds for patents.
Yes, ma'am.
So most of the research grants, they come with the component for filing your IPRs. That is how it is done. There is no specific grant that I know that is only for IPR, but whenever you apply for any of these grants, one component is IPR, especially if you're working in product development. But if you, I would always advise you, filing a provisional patent in India is not that expensive. So if you can file a provisional patent, please do it, because after that you get about 12 to 15 months to file your final draft. And that is when you have to actually pay the whole fees. So not specifically for patent, but product development, all grants have a patenting IPR division to it. I mean, IPR part of it, which you can use for your patenting.
One more question, spectrophotometer and its cost, culture media.
Yeah, so you need to see all of this. So we can have multiple questions like that. My idea is what I was trying to tell you people is that everything is there online.
Yeah,
So
you just need to search.
for it, yeah, and you need to be on the right platforms. You need to look at the right places. So again, spectrophotometer, you need to look at a technical institute. Culture media, you need to look at a biological sciences institute or ICMR lab or CSIR labs. There are specific CSIR labs who only do, microbiological research. So that would be the right center to approach a culture media for a culture media need.
Yeah. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your presence and helping us to gain the knowledge. And I thanks again everyone for being there and supporting us. Thank you all.
Thank you, Suchita.
Thank you, ma'am.